I won't go too far into it because every time I do, I get re-traumatized. But I was attacked in the street a few months ago by a man, of course, and then he called other men for backup in what I think was a kidnapping attempt, and not based on who I was. It was just random because this is happening to women and kids all over the world all the time. And about a week later, I went in shock afterwards, and I managed to kind of get safely back to my home country. And then I was asked why I'd left my hotel alone at 6 p.m. and I snapped. I snapped for 40 years of being expected to be solely responsible for my safety, and the onus never being on men to not hurt women. And there was just something about it. I don't know if it's just turning 40 and the way you take stock of your life and the way you take stock of your trauma. I don't know if you neurologically everything catches up with you, but there was just something about being asked that after something so heinous and unprovoked, not that it's ever provoked, but I mean, it was so completely random and such poor luck, to be asked why I'd left my hotel room at 6 p.m. in the afternoon, which is essentially the end of like just the day.
Yeah,
it's not
some people haven't even been out of work
I'm
yet.
I'm 40. I'm 5'10.5". Like there's just nothing about what I did was irresponsible. Also, nothing we do should ever be considered irresponsible. Nothing provokes any kind of sexual or physical crime against anyone. And I didn't. It wasn't really my mental health that went into a spiral. It was my nervous system, and it was really fascinating to understand that, like, this kind of fugue state I went into where I just couldn't really speak. I kept on going mute for days at a time, and I didn't really know who I was or who anyone else was. I cognitively understood, intellectually I understood who the people around me were, but I didn't feel any relation to any of them, including my partner of 12 years. It's kind of like I describe it in the piece as feeling like I'd been dropped into someone else's life and I had a script for how to be able to maintain her relationships, but I didn't know who she was, and I didn't remember any good times in her life. And it's really dangerous when this happens, especially because there's no information about it. I didn't know what depersonalization was, which is what that is, or derealization was, which is what that is. I didn't know about something called dorsal vagal shutdown, which is the complete breakdown and collapse of your nervous system. No one's ever told me about that. No one ever. I've just been, everything to do with women's grief and PTSD has always been kind of turned into depression, for which you're given an SSRI. And that can be great and life-saving, but also that can further dissociate you sometimes. So I was always told that these moments that I'm feeling are my mental health. So therefore I thought there's a way you can psychologically get around it. That's not the case with a nervous system shutdown like dorsal vagal collapse. You can't think your way out of that. It is a long process to tell your body you're safe. You know, when you're in fight or flight, you're running away from the tiger. But when you're in dorsal vagal collapse, it's as though the tiger has caught you and is eating you, and you dissociate, which I think any of us who've experienced sexual trauma or any kind of physical violence in the moment, often you just freeze and leave your body. And that's what that is. And it was really intense to, for the first time as it was happening in real time, understand I'm not having a mental health crisis. My nervous system has become so overwhelmed by men that it can't actually figure out how to function in this world, because it's kind of like being bitten by a shark and then being forced to live in the sea for the rest of your life. Being hurt by so many men in my life and then being forced to live amongst them, even if some of them are good, is absolute. It's terrorism for the psyche. And so I'm dealing with the onslaught of that, and I wanted to, because I'd never been told about any of this, I wanted to make sure as many people, especially women, knew that that's what that feeling is, and you're not crazy. Your body is actually doing something that is trying to protect you, but you experience a shutdown across all your systems. Like, so your digestive system stops, your metabolism stops, your memory stops, you can't sleep, it's just fucking chaos. And then doctors will at best give you a pill and not give you any instructions for all the somatic things you have to do to pull yourself out of it. And how fucked that we have to pull ourselves out of it after someone else has inflicted their instability onto us and their violence. So yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
how did you find out about all of this? Because when I was reading it, there was so much that you said, obviously, that I related to, and the nervous system thing is something that I'm dealing with a lot as well. And I recently had all my blood work done, and the medical professional that I was working with was like, you have the stress level of an NSA agent who is trying to fight hackers to keep the grid up and can't talk to their partner about what they do at work because it's state secrets. It was so specific.
That's so specific.
And I was like, why do you know that? Why do you know what that kind of stress level is? And he was like, well, I work with some of them. So I've seen their results. What are you doing that is so stressful? And I was like, I don't really have a stressful life right now, but my body is still responding to trauma. It's functioning as if it is unsafe. And no matter how many times my brain says you're safe, my body is not listening. So it's holding water weight. My cortisol levels are high. My stress levels are high. It's not functioning the way that it's supposed to be functioning, even though I'm taking care of it, because my body is traumatized. And it's not, they're not communicating with each other. So that part I very much related to. But how did you find out about it? Did you do research, or did you talk to a professional?
It was it was the first time. So all the other times it's happened 3 separate times in my life in 40 years of being on this planet. It's happened. First time I was 15, then 26, then I think I was 34. And each of those times my life wasn't great. So it was hard to tell how much darkness I'd slipped into because my life was just generally quite dark. Whereas this time I'd had quite a reparatory, wonderful life that I could remember I'd left behind to become this weird monotone speaking dead bore who I have become in the last couple of months. So I'm so sorry that this is the version of me you get on your podcast, but I knew, I was like, oh, something has gone very, very wrong here. And so I love my partner, and I could see how scared he was. And I was very, very, I felt very suicidal. And I feel a deep responsibility to him that I'm unable to access for myself. I'm not very good at looking after myself, but I can look after anyone else. So I thought, okay, for his sake, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. So I started researching my symptoms, and it was telling me that there might be something wrong with my nervous system. So I just looked up what kind of practitioners you go to for your nervous system. And they were like, cranial osteopathy, acupuncture, somatic, body workers. They were like, this is not a problem in your mind. This is a problem in your body and your nervous system. So I was like, right. So I went to a bunch of those different types of practitioners, and all 3 of them, confirmed that I was in dorsal vagal collapse. And the reason they could tell is because they were testing my pulse to my digestive system and my general pulse and my blood pressure, which was near dead. So it's not the sort of thing that you can just tell a doctor you have. They can just assess it from... And then my blood results came back with comically high cortisol, probably quite similar to you, as if I was in active attack. And so through all of those measures, they ascertained that I'm in dorsal vagal collapse, and my body was gaining weight rapidly. And I'm someone who normally eats a lot and stays very slim, come from a very thin family. It's not normal for my body to expand at this speed. It's clearly a metabolism shutdown.
Yeah.
And so I was just retaining water so puffy. My body just feels so waterlogged all the time. And so they all kind of guided me through it, but still didn't give me loads of information on how to actively look after myself. I didn't know you're not supposed to exercise. I had to figure that one out the hard way. Didn't know that breath work can be really bad for you.
Really?
Yeah, it can make things, especially the type that's that Wim Hof,
yeah,
that can exacerbate you and tell your body, oh my God, she's out of breath, she's running out of breath, she must be in danger again, she must be running from an attacker again. Right, so that made me much worse. I didn't know that because I didn't have any appetite, I wasn't eating very much. I was not eating very much and gaining the most weight I'd ever gained. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Because I wasn't eating much, my body was like, oh, she's in famine. Let's send more cortisol. Let's hang on to more water. And so all these things I've just been kind of trial and erroring my way around, just trying to do things for my mental health, even going for a long walk in the sun, terrible. The sunshine, not great when you're in this state.
What is good for you?
Lying down in the dark in a cool room and being around safe people and eating foods that bring you comfort. So I have gone back to a coffee and 2 chocolate muffins in the morning, and I'm feeling much better for it. And and really just being very, very gentle, like 15 minutes of a slow walk a day, just really telling your body again and again and again, especially through kind of self-talk, which I've never done because I'm British and we really look down on that sort of thing because we're cunts. And so learning to go, I am safe, like you are safe, I'm going to look after you, I don't have any expectations of you, you just do whatever you need to do, like making sure that your body understands that there is no risk posed to you. And so that's kind of what I've been doing. If I'm babbling, I'm so sorry. This is the first time I've actually spoken about it out loud.
No, I'm very grateful that you are speaking about it.